All right, welcome to the Open World Cruise Again. Today, Thursday, June 20th, 2024, and we are in the Republic of San Marino, an independent country in the world's oldest republic that was started in 301, September 9th of 301. It is a completely landlocked country in within Italy. It's about a few miles from the coast, but the first thing you come to is this very simple church. There's a much more beautiful, ornate one up on top, which I'll take you to in a minute. But San Marino is the third smallest country in Europe behind Monaco and the Vatican, and it's the fifth smallest country in the world. And it is the oldest republic in the world. It is 23 and a half square miles, about 34,000 people live here. Its main industry is tourism. So once you come out of the church, it reminds me of like a small city like Arendelle in Frozen. It's kind of a walled city. First thing you come to is this museum of torture, which I thought was a kind of odd thing to have right next door to the church. There's a roller thing there with spikes on it and a whip made out of chain. I didn't go into the torture museum, but so this San Marino sits on top of this mountain, and you're going to see in a little while how it lasted for so long. It's been attacked a few times, maybe 3 times in its history. It was actually briefly occupied by the Germans for a few days during World War II, but it's managed to remain independent. The Allies bombed this city during that short duration when the Germans were here, and 30 people were killed. This is the town square. Building on the left is a government building where they run things from. But anyway, there were about 30 people killed here. At the time, there's a monument up here that I'll show you in a minute, or commemorate those 30 people that were killed during World War II. But at the time, there were like 1,000 residents in San Marino, and something like 100,000 Italians fled up here because San Marino remained neutral during the war. So they fled up here, and this square right here over on the right is where the statue is. It commemorates the folks that were killed during the bombing. But you can get an idea now of this small little country is on top of this mountain, and this castle is very well protected. I can understand why nobody was able to conquer this little country. When you get up on top of the castle and look down, you'll also understand. Here we go. Now there's a couple ways to get up here. You can drive, or you can take the cable car. There's a cable just to the right there that comes up from below. But the country of San Marino has 9 separate, they're called castles. Although they're not castles, those are the little cities within the country of San Marino. And the capital of San Marino is this city that we're in right here. And the fort and castle on top of the mountain is. So when you run San Marino, you get to park your car right there. That's San Marino 1. There's 60 regents who serve, and 2 of them are chosen to rule for 6-month periods at a time. And when you're the ruling one, you get to park your car up there on this on this little square. And of course, the patron saint of San Marino is San Marino. And as I mentioned before, the tourism is the main thing that keeps San Marino in the black. Okay, now this church is the official one where when they change the regents, they have a ceremony inside of this one, and it's a fancy church. It's beautiful. It has the most beautiful ceiling I think I've ever seen in any church. And I've seen lots of churches around the world, but this ceiling is so ornate and beautiful. And there's a story that goes with this church right here. You can see up in the front there is I think that's San Marino, the patron saint. Uh, so you can see just above the patron saint there's a cross hanging with the Savior on it, and then behind there in a niche there is a most beautiful Christus. It's very much like the Thorvaldsen one. It's my favorite, and it's behind the statue. So the same thing I wondered. I said, how come that statue in the niche isn't up in the middle as the focal point of the church instead of San Marino? Apparently, the Pope wondered the same thing when he visited here, and so they hung that crucifix up above San Marino. Now, the castle up on top, we're going to go crawl up in this thing. Keep in mind, so this castle up here was built starting in 1278, I think is what that sign said. And this is why nobody was ever able to overtake this country. This castle back in those days would have been completely impenetrable and unapproachable when you look at the surrounding area, as you'll see in a minute. There's some cannons down here at the end under this cover, but this is the most perfect castle, I think, for defensive reasons I've ever seen. I guess when you've been building a castle for so long, it's so beautiful, so perfect. It has a castle within a castle within a castle. So they have various lines of defense in case the enemy was ever able to even come up there. They can keep them at bay. But look at how the enemy would have to approach this. It's almost straight down on all sides, not just this one. There we go. You can see how an enemy would have a difficult time back in the 1200s attacking this place. This is a view from the very top tower up there, looking out the window to the surrounding countryside. But it turns out San Marino is one of the wealthiest countries in the world. I think their capita gross domestic product is about $90,000 a person. As I mentioned, there's only 34,000 people who live here, but they get so many tourists every year to this country that keeps them alive. And as you walk the streets, it's full of shopping opportunities for the tourists that come. But look what a beautiful view it is out there. That's the coast you can see out there to the right. So kind of a hazy day, so it's difficult to see. This is walking the parapet around the outside. The actual name they like to call it is the most serene Republic of San Marino.
The bass is pounding. My heart
There's a total of 3 towers like this.
is
We only went up in one of them,
the
but it's a very well defended country.
my mind is embracing. I can't resist the beat, it's taking me higher. Filling up my soul with a burning desire. I can't resist the beat, it's taking me higher.
We had lunch at a very nice restaurant that had an amazing view. There's Bob McCullough down there. And anyway, the lunch was wonderful, and we're on to Trieste for our next stop, so stay tuned.